What if the wisest man in history died full of regret? What if his final words contained a hidden warning for the future? King Solomon had everything: wisdom beyond human comprehension, wealth beyond measure, and a kingdom so powerful that the world stood in awe. But in his final days, he was a broken man. The question is, did Solomon realize his mistakes before it was too late? Or did he take a terrible secret to his grave? Tonight, we uncover the hidden truth behind Solomon's final moments and the shocking secret behind his last words. Imagine a kingdom so powerful that kings and queens traveled across continents just to witness its splendor. A ruler so wise that even the greatest minds of his time bowed before him. Solomon's story begins not with war, but with wisdom. When given the chance to ask God for anything, riches, power, long life, he asked for only one thing. And so, Solomon became not just a king, but a legend. A king so wise that even his enemies feared his decisions. His name echoed through every nation, and his wisdom was said to be a gift straight from the heavens. Leaders from across the world, like the powerful Queen of Sheba, traveled for months just to test his mind, and they left in awe. But what happens when the wisest man alive begins to turn away from wisdom itself? Power, wealth, desire, the very gifts that made Solomon great, became the chains that enslaved him. Solomon, the man chosen by God, began to worship foreign gods. The man who built the temple of God now built shrines for demons. His own advisors warned him. The prophets cried out, but Solomon ignored them. The people of Israel watched in shock as their once righteous king turned away from the God of his fathers. And so, the blessings of God began to fade. Enemies rose. The kingdom trembled. And Solomon, he was no longer the man he used to be. The wisest man on earth had become a fool. The mighty king, now just an old man. The wealth, the women, the power, none of it could stop the slow march of time. And as the shadows of death crept closer, Solomon began to wonder. These words were written in the final years of his life, in a book that many believe was his final confession. Ecclesiastes, the man who once held all the answers, now questioned everything. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and a chasing after the wind. Did Solomon finally see the truth? That no amount of gold, no number of wives, no earthly pleasure could ever replace the one thing he lost: his devotion to God. But if Solomon truly repented, why are his final words still debated to this day? The great King Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, was now on his deathbed. His breath was shallow, his hands weak. And in these final moments, the weight of his choices hung over him like a storm cloud. But what were his final words? Did he cry out in repentance? Did he seek forgiveness? Or did he take a terrible secret to his grave? The Bible never records his last words, but many believe his final message was left behind in his writings. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Some say this was his last confession, his way of warning future generations. Others claim Solomon left behind an even deeper warning, hidden in ancient texts rarely spoken about. Could Solomon's final words have been erased from history? Could there be a missing piece to his last message, one that was meant to change everything? Thousands of years have passed, but have we truly learned from Solomon's mistakes? Solomon had everything the world desires: power, money, fame, pleasure, yet he died realizing it was all meaningless. What if Solomon wasn't just speaking about his life, but about ours? We live in an age of wealth without wisdom, pleasure without purpose, knowledge without understanding. Solomon's final words were not just a reflection, they were a warning to every generation that would follow. At the end of his life, after all the riches, power, and pleasures, Solomon gave one final conclusion: the only thing that truly matters. What if Solomon's warning wasn't just for ancient Israel, but for you? How many of us spend our lives running after the same illusions Solomon did, thinking that success, relationships, money, or power will bring us peace, only to find emptiness? But the wisest man in history left us a roadmap, a warning we can still choose to follow. So, the question remains, Will you listen? Or will history repeat itself? Because in the end, wisdom is not in how much you know, but in who you choose to follow.